Good afternoon, everyone. This is the one and only Trent, Be Clever, coming to you live out of 405 in Oklahoma City, y'all. And today I am doing a book review by the author Nicole Jocelyn called The Church Scene. Not much is different. Again, this is by the author Nicole Jocelyn. Not much is different. Actually, the sequel to the first book, On the Scene. The majority of the book actually takes place between the First Choice Church and the club and the party girl. It's interesting how this book, The Church Scene, parallels the club scene. Then the club scene actually parallels the church scene. And there's a lot of hidden motives and agendas throughout the chapters with the characters, their transitions, their plots, their motives. I love how the story begins. Actually, this one of the central characters, her name is Ariel, which she's known for, of course, baby mama drama. And her actually beginning of the story is where she's caught in an altercation, where her cousin has to pick her up from actual jail. So throughout this situation, she makes the cognitive decision to change her lifestyle. In doing so, she attends church for the first time and she gets saved. When she becomes saved and becomes a new believer or a new found Christian, she begins to endure the judgmental side of the religion. It's not only being judgmental, but her perception of being a follower in God. She's trying to be holy, trying her best to live a righteous life versus the life that she's come from. This section, a new beginning from her. And it's interesting because all the young ladies that she has beef with or enemies with and on the club scene basically attends the same church, as well as her baby daddy, as well as everyone that she was involved with. But anyway, it's pretty much Ariel's life triggers other lives. To the girls who are on the scene, which I talk about, the party girls, Tracy, Melanie, Tira, she transforms their lives as well as their boyfriends' lives, as well as other people's lives who are involved. It starts this butterfly effect. Within this butterfly effect, you will see the change with characters. You will see the thoughts process change. You will see the lives being touched. But you will also see a struggle there, a struggle with what to believe and a struggle with what I've always been doing and what I've always taught. The hypocrisy of the church, the hypocrisy of people, their beliefs, their moral values, what have you. It shows also beyond the church. There is the preacher's kid, Raina, who loves God. She has her own dream and aspirations of being a singer outside the corridors of the church, as well as her best friends. It involves the DJs, not just the DJs, but the DJs, the party promoters, the youth minister, the actual senior pastor, Pastor Jacobs. And reading the book and going through each chapter, you start becoming familiar with the characters. You start believing that you actually know these people, because it's funny because I start thinking of people that in Oklahoma City that possibly fit these roles or who this personality or these lives. So it's really interesting because I'm reading a book and I'm putting faces with pictures and thoughts and a vision, etc. Anyway, I also start noticing this different love and lust triangle occurring between central characters. You know, one guy who's in a relationship, one of the photographers decides, that because of Ariel's decisions, he's even thinking about rededicating his life to God and getting close to God. At the same time, his girlfriend's not ready to make that change or that commitment. She's happy where she is. So again, you see that butterfly effect and that struggle between central characters. And like I said, each chapter is short, but within 5 to 7 pages, but it's definitely to the point. Most books I read are 345 pages, 500 pages, etc. But I love that this book is short, brief, and to the point. By the name of Gabriel, he's human. He's just looking for a wife. He's looking to settle down. He's in the ministry, deep in the ministry, and he's looking to find Mrs. Right. And there's a lot of revenge and vindictiveness going on too. It's very much so spiritual as it is worldly. And it's like I said, the two go hand in hand, they exchange, they switch over. Also, there is another young man in the story who has basically tired and frustrated with the same old traditional church. And basically, he's frustrated about living this lie. He has a fear of being exposed. Why? Because he's living a double life. And you will see that story and that transcends as you read throughout the book and the characters. You're also dealing with another young lady who's very judgmental, who's very harsh, who's very vindictive, who stuck in the past. Like she can't let go of what's happened to her or how she felt that she was wronged. And you see her witness her struggle externally, internally throughout the course of her dialogue and her failed attempts at love. And to the point where it's made her bitter, sweet. It's made her ornery and angry and just really. But what's the twist is, toward the end of the story, I'm not going to give it away. There's this shocking climax and twist that's like, woo, blows everybody away, that leaves you shocked because you wasn't expecting for this to happen, but it happens. And it changed the entire course of the story. In fact, it brings all the central characters and the minor ones back to a sense of not only gratitude, but putting life into perspective of what's really important, what's really meaningful. And is this worth it? Is being on the scene even worth the struggle for status or popularity or for this small sense of notoriety? Is it even worth it for bragging rights? And another dynamic that you're going to enjoy about this book, the church scene, not much is different, is that it isn't overly preachy. Just because it takes place in a church as well as partially in a club does not mean that it's overly preachy. And yes, it's spiritual and faith-based and Christian themes. But I love that it stays to the point, and it speaks to the heart and minds of new believers as well as those who are not particularly saved. But it still gets this message across without compromising too much of the storylines. Everything that you could think of that's going on in and out of the church is happening in this book. So I suggest you check it out by Nicole Joklin. She really did her homework on this. I thought it was a really great book. Anyway, that's my review, and I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.